So good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Eivers, a 2021 Nuffield Scholar, and the topic I'm presenting to you today is how to adapt to market demands and change in the Irish egg industry. So before I get started, I'm going to give you a quick agenda on what I'll discuss over the next 10 minutes. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of my journey so far in my career and why Nuffield. I'm going to give you an outlook of what the Irish egg industry looks like today. I'm going to discuss some of the challenges within the Irish egg industry right now. I'm going to discuss the opportunities in sustainability. I'm going to follow that up with 2 case studies from my travels over the last 2 years, and then going to finish off then with some key recommendations. So me and why Nuffield. So currently I'm farming 40,000 free-range hens in partnership with my mum in Trim, County Meath. We also have cereals and some pedigree sheep. And from a very young age, as you can see, I had a huge interest and passion in farming all my life. And following that, I studied agriculture in UCD and then cut my teeth for 10 years in the fresh produce industry in Dublin. And now I'm farming 4 years now full time. I've always loved to travel. I've always liked to push myself out of my comfort zone. And one of the main reasons for applying for Nuffield was I wanted to push myself even further out of my comfort zone and broaden my horizons on global agriculture. It has given me great self-confidence, both personally and in my career moving forward. And it's given me a clarity on, suppose, sustainability for the future of egg production. So now on to my study. So the egg industry. There's currently 3.7 million laying hens in Ireland today, producing almost 900 million eggs annually. We're almost 100% self-sufficient in egg production, and it is an industry that is very geographically concentrated, with 76% of all egg production based in only 2 counties, that's Cavan and Monaghan. From a consumption point of view, we consume 181 eggs per capita per year versus a European average of 230. It has been an industry that has shown real strong growth in the last number of years, with Teagasc saying that it's increased by 26% from a production point of view. So the egg industry has traditionally been a buoyant and strong market, but is currently in a period of unprecedented change. So first challenge I'm going to discuss is the cost crisis. So like all egg industry, egg production is at the forefront of rising input costs. See from the above graph where it shows that meal is increasing much faster than the price of eggs. Meal has increased by almost 63% since I was awarded my Nuffield in 2020. And due to egg packer competition and the fight to the bottom at retail level, egg producers' margin has been eroded and remains under pressure. So currently morale is very low among the egg industry right now, and this is coupled with disease risk. So disease is definitely cited as the biggest threat facing the poultry industry right now. 2021 saw the worst outbreaks across the UK and Ireland we've ever seen with avian influenza. And this coming winter doesn't look much better, with a housing order in place since November 7th and an outbreak in North County Monaghan only last week. So we as a poultry industry need to prepare ourselves for this, and we need to be mindful on how we adapt our businesses to suit. The lack of public compensation schemes for non-notifiable diseases, coupled with the limited ability for producers to protect or insure themselves against disease, is a major threat to the sustainability of the sector, and is really going to act as a barrier for both investment and for new entrants. So preventing the introduction of disease is the #1 priority for the Irish poultry industry right now, and a fund is most definitely needed. The next challenge is cage-free transition. So the industry is currently in a transitionary period for how we produce eggs, and it's the second time in the last 11 years where huge changes have been made on how we produce eggs. In 2011, an EU directive was put in place to remove the use of cages to produce eggs. This was replaced with an enriched cage system, also known as colony egg production. Colony continues to dominate, as you can see from the pie chart, with 55% of all eggs produced in Ireland today coming from colony production. But in 2016, pledges were made by both retailers and food companies to go completely cage-free by 2025, which is now reshaping how we produce eggs again. And what this looks like in the coming years is still relatively unknown. Anecdotally, we are hearing that some retailers are committing to going to barn production, others are saying 100% free range. So the lack of direction is causing huge unpredictability. The next challenge I'm going to discuss is with continued pressure on all animal agriculture from animal welfare organisations. The cage-free pledges what influence these organisations can have on our industries. This also links to the fact that consumers are far more aware of where their food comes from. Culling of day-old male chicks, where we've seen similar pressures in the dairy industry, are very evident. This has the potential to have a real negative impact on consumption if it is not managed properly. Beak trimming. Industry remains under pressure to be banned. This is done for a reason, but is likely to be banned by 2030 and is already banned in both Denmark and Holland. These are not immediate issues, but if they're not faced head-on, the industry could lose its social licence and some consumer confidence. My last challenge I'm going to discuss is around feed and the reliance we have on imported protein. As I discussed before, feed is a huge input cost for poultry producers, and 80% of emissions associated with egg production comes from feed. Soya, which is ever present on all poultry diets due to its availability, its consistency, its high protein levels, and good amino acid profile, means it's ever present. But there's a variable impact of soya on carbon footprint due to the country of origin. So Brazilian soya has twice the emissions that of North American. This is due to land use change, biodiversity loss, and all the environmental reasons that are happening in the Amazon region. So fundamentally, we do not have any other raw material that can match soya in terms of protein until we look at insect protein. So I visited a farm in Holland, as you can see, but insect farming has we lack a lot of confidence in terms of research and development in this country, and it's definitely a keen area of interest. Soya-free diets are also possible with the use of field peas and beans in Ireland, but again, the availability is not there all year round. This is an area where we can definitely put more focus on. So it's not all doom and gloom, as I feel Irish free-range egg production is amongst the best in the world. We've got strong Board BA support, we have a strong department support, and Irish eggs are extremely marketable internationally. However, we must not become too complacent, and we must try and look forward. So like all industries, sustainability is the most important for both the producer and the consumer, and each industry has to do its part. This is driven by the want for better welfare standards and for consumer influence. So here are some areas that I'm going to discuss what I've learned through my studies. So white bird versus brown bird. The introduction of white eggs into Ireland is definitely a clear win. In some countries I visited, some retailers will only stock white eggs, and here's the reasons why. A white bird will produce up to 500 eggs in their lifetime versus 350 of a brown bird. They have better feed intake, they have better food conversion ratio, which means they consume less protein, which means less reliance on importing. They have better livability, so they can live up to 100 weeks versus 75 to 85 weeks of a brown bird. They're a more docile breed, which means less stress and more health issues. My next opportunity is around egg size, and we all know size matters. So traditionally in Ireland, free-range egg producers have always been producing large eggs. But from the bird's point of view and from a sustainability point of view, is this the right thing to do? Larger eggs means more protein consumption per bird. It means a shorter life for the bird. It generates more stress for the bird and also generates more second-class eggs due to the weaker shell as the bird gets older. So education is key here. An education piece to the consumer on how we improve sustainability and the implication a large egg has on the bird and the environment are so important. My next opportunity is agroforestry. And through my Nuffield journey, my colleague Ray O'Fowlick really inspired me on the real benefits of trees. Trying to minimise our farm's carbon footprint, and also trees have a great benefit in terms of flock welfare. This needs to be reiterated to Irish egg producers. Free-range egg producers need 1 hectare of land for 1,000 birds. So it's really, you can utilise the space by planting trees. It comes with economic benefits. It creates a better canopy for birds so they have a less stressful environment, and also increased biodiversity. So if we have happy hens, we will produce more eggs. My last opportunity is around alternative protein, and this is an area where we should put a lot of focus. So production of Irish peas and beans is very achievable and will help reduce our reliance on imported protein. I feel more research is needed around insect protein, and is definitely required here in Ireland to again reduce our reliance. So here we have black soldier fly and mealworms, which are possible to feed to hens today. So I'm going to give you 2 case studies from my travels. So here's the list of the countries that I was lucky enough to travel with Nuffield over the last 2 years. And I'm going to give you 2 case studies based on my travels for the last couple of years. So Kipster in Holland. So pictured here with Ruud Zanders, a 2021 Dutch Nuffield scholar. Founded his business in 2016. Puts massive emphasis on high welfare standards for his birds. Massive emphasis on enrichment, which is key. He's managed to secure a 5-year contract with his retailer, which gives him strong visibility on his business moving forward. He raises all his male old chicks for meat consumption. He tries to feed a nil soya diet. He only sells mixed-size eggs, which backs up my point about large eggs. Also, a strong consumer engagement with a farm shop on his site, and also tries to build his business around a closed-loop farming. My second case study is Wood Farm free-range eggs, based in Cambridge in the UK. Here, Charles Mears has planted a huge amount of trees in his ranges where his birds can scratch and roam day in, day out. He sources all his feed locally. Big emphasis on renewable energy. So he has a farm-sized anaerobic digester, and he utilises all his roof space for solar. He also then supplements his feed by feeding his birds black soldier fly fed by food waste. So before I finish, I'd like to thank Nuffield Ireland. I'd like to thank my mentor, Amy McEver, Karen Brosnan for her help, and all my sponsors. And of course, I'd like to thank my family who are here today. So here are my 4 key recommendations before I leave. So more white bird versus brown bird. Change consumer perception on egg size, and we need to work together with Bord Bia and retailers to promote the real benefits of medium eggs. More emphasis on agroforestry, improves welfare, reduces our carbon footprint, and more research around alternative protein. So my belief is that if we can implement some of these changes, we'll have an industry that is more sustainable, more future-proof, and ultimately more profitable. Thank you.